What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, it's time yet again. It's our annual looking back at the Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider game, and discussing if it'll be at an event or, showing off at a certain year. We got Summer Game Fest to talk about, and there actually is a little bit of something to discuss with this. You may or may not have already seen it, but there's a little push that, this has absolutely a chance. I don't know how big of a chance, but it has a chance of being there, and I'll spoil this early. My prediction is it's going to be there. Now, I'm wrong a lot. Specifically, I'm not actually as wrong as you might think with other things, but specifically Tomb Raider, I do feel like I'm wrong quite often, but we know the game is getting closer and closer. Every time we hear about it, we hear about how, hey, it's not too far out that we're going to see it or hear about it. Maybe release, who God knows when a game like that could release. But every time we hear about it, or really the times we hear about it, it's, hey, it's not that far off, we could see something relatively soon. Okay, so what we have to talk about here is there's an insider called Nate the Hate. You may or may not have heard of him, but he's extremely good. He's gotten some of the hardest to predict things right. Things that insiders will go back and forth on, dates, games, events of okay, maybe it's gonna happen, maybe it's not, maybe it's this day, maybe it's that day. This is a guy who gets it right. Okay, we're still waiting on some things of his to be right, but historically he's one of the better insiders. And there's actually an individual that asked him a question about Summer Game Fest, Owen, on Twitter, and said, hey, is it gonna be big, and do you think we would see Project 007, the game from IO Interactive, Wolf Among Us 2, or Tomb Raider? And he says one of the three, at least one of the three, is going to be there. Now, hopefully, probably, by the time you see this video, I've already made a Wolf Among Us video. I, from the bottom of my heart, do not think it's Wolf Among Us. I want it to be, because that game is in so much more trouble than any of these other games. But that game, I'll believe it when I see it. And the reason I even mention that is because, okay, we're getting one of those three. I very much trust this guy. And it's okay, so you're getting one of the three. If we can eliminate one, now you're down to two, right? So to me, right now, it's Tomb Raider or 007. The second that I saw that tweet, I thought it was Tomb Raider. Now, that's probably a more gut feeling than anything, but I just feel like, because of what we're always talking about, it just feels like it's time. Whether or not it releases in the fall, Summer Game Fest, it's kind of a blend. It's kind of a blend of getting ready for the fall, giving release dates, showing a couple games that are not announced yet that are also releasing in the fall, right? It's got that slant. It's got the slant of let's fill out the rest of the year. But it also historically picks a couple games, and I do mean that, a couple. You're not going to get 7 world reveals that you would get, say, at the Game Awards. But Jeff Keighley normally picks 2 or 3, and it's a big deal. And that normally happens every year. Some years are much worse. I think last year was a pretty terrible Summer Game Fest. But I want to say the last 2 or 3 before then were extremely good. Just actually very high quality, kind of back-to-back-to-back, announcements of things. So that's kind of my expectation, at least when I go into Summer Game Fest, is give me 2. Give me 2 or 3 brand new game. And this is a brand new game, but it's also something we have heard of before. So it's not oh, they're making a Tomb Raider game, I can't believe it. We know they're making a Tomb Raider game. It's just they have to show it, right? So that's where I'm at. I really think it's one of those two. The 007 game, I definitely want to see that. That game might be the best. That game is probably the most slam dunk of the 3. Wolf Among Us could be terrible, could be great. Tomb Raider could be terrible, could be great. I'm obviously hopeful that it's, both those games are better than worse, but specifically 007 I feel has the highest potential and is probably more guaranteed to be good. So I would take that as well, but I don't know, I just have a feeling it's finally going to be Tomb Raider. I just feel that's a game we've just heard about so much, and it's if you look back at when it was even in development and stuff, it could absolutely come out this year, and I think it would shock nobody because it's been a good length of time. It could absolutely be shown off and shock nobody because it's oh, of course, it makes sense. It's time to show it off. So it's more of a gut feeling, but I also feel it stems a little bit from it's time. You've been working on this game for close to half a decade. The game needs to at least be ready to be shown. It doesn't have to come out this year, but to show it off this year makes a lot of sense. And because of this, one of those 3 games looks very likely to be shown. So let me know what you guys think, if Tomb Raider is going to be there or not. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.